So I'm going to be reading from my new book. It just arrived this week. It's called Calliope, which is like Calliope, but just that's the Greek way that people say it. Not that I'm in any way an expert on how Greek people do anything, although I'm Greek. Or Greek American, let's say. So it's kind of, the book is kind of an exploration of names, name meanings, name origins, and place names. Going back to my grandmother, whose name was Calliope, and who came to live with my family when I was a teenager and not at all interested in knowing her story. And so I'm trying to retrace what her story was a little bit in the book. So, Calliope. She came from Chios, didn't swim, sat on our redwood deck, unsmiling in her heavy black. Named for the muse of eloquence and epic poetry, she rarely spoke. I have many compliment, was her comeback the time Mom asked if all her folks were short. Algerinos was dead, but she enjoyed Dad's dive into the chlorinated pool in long red trunks, royal blue stripes down his flanks. She cooked dolmades, moussaka, in the annex we built over our garage, gave us ligo, a little, some. She didn't drive or take the bus. I don't remember one book. Open the light, honey, she said. If there was cake, she'd take a Lego bit. So I got some names here, a couple names. The whole first section of the book is name poems. So this is Anastasia, or Anastasia. She asks if asthma is the name of a goddess. Its etymology is dull unless you're Anastasia. Greek resurrection, ana, up, and sta, stand firm. My remote student who checks boxes on the Oakland waterfront, the world's 5th busiest port, inhaler in hand for quality control. 18-wheelers stall in coiling lines, unload diesel particulates too small to see into her lungs, her blood. It comes from ASEAN, I say, breathe hard. One more name poem, Armani. My ex-hairdresser, Armani, said we had the same enemy. I thought his name was Italian, Armenian, he corrected me. He cut my bangs too short. He talked too long about the past and the Black Sea. A little black Armani dress, a thrift shop purchase, takes up New York space in my armoire. I wore it once. Saying goodbye entails explaining why. I like to think I have no enemy. I switched salons. And now we're going to go into this very particular psychic space of Florida, where my mother attempted to move. This is called the Baby Jesus. Mom's still a sucker for Christmas. She counts on it and us to disappoint. It's February in Florida. The polyvinyl tree abides. Her friend Frances, too frail to fly, FaceTimes to see these ornaments. Rubber Maine lobster, ceramic Empire State, blown glass, starry night. Each year, the baby Jesus gives Mom strength to decorate. She loves babies. Alexis and I are down from different states, leaving on a jet plane in our heads, although we hate the song and all the questions it raises, the ones we asked at 7 and 9, warriors that we were. Why doesn't John Denver know when he'll be back? Why will he wear her ring, not bring it in a fancy box? I've never told you this, Mom prefaces Dad's possible gayness, which would explain the choice of white for his casket. A theory we've heard since we were old enough to be her audience. I didn't know that was a Vietnam War song, and that's why he didn't know. That's why he didn't know when he'd be back. But we had no clue about that. And I didn't even until I wrote the poem. More Florida. Cal. We 4 old children conference call from Santa Barbara, Brooklyn, Washington, Wausau, about our mom's new friend, Caldwell, who goes by Cal, and other tall, strong men who don't exist and never knock, but walk right in, then disappear with her diamonds. That's Florida. And one more Florida, heaven. The dead too fall for scams, get DUIs on roads that loop through rotaries, lose games of chance in luxury villas that can't be found by satellites. Mom drives the Rolls Royce of golf carts. Her license never expires. Even in death, a surfer dude appears on the shoulder. He says she's easy on the eye. Flashes a mouthful of real teeth. No implants in the afterlife, no hearing aids. Brown butter in her copper pan never blackens, burns. What is the lesson God wants her to learn? She doesn't love these gauzy clouds, misses the minerally earth, the kind of leaves that bruise and fall, that first Midwestern forsythia burst. I have 3 more. This is a real thing that happened on the subway. Borough Hall to Clark. It started with a blowjob she didn't want to give. He was her pimp. He gave her crack, so she'd blow anyone. 2 years clean, she asks her audience on this Bronx-bound 3 train, guess where he is now? Though we avert our eyes, he's in the ground. Satisfies. And this is about a trip to, well, I don't have to talk about what it's about. But I should say that it, posto di merda, and my husband's Italian, and posto di merda means shithole, basically, shithole place. We've all heard about that a lot, so familiar. term, posto di merda. Thank God she's gone, Vincenzo whispered, but she wasn't. That Roman woman on her phone who promptly sat down next to me, I thought I heard a sob on speaker. Maybe her daughter? Then she yelled, "Non posso fare niente." I can't do anything. I'm on a plane to a shithole. Un posto di merda. The flight attendant begged, "Signora, per favore, spenga il cellulare." Her Louis Vuitton, our Samsonite, rubbed zippers on the steel carousel. "Do you know Athens?" she said. "I've never been here." One more from a little bit more recent. It is called Thruple. About my daughter's polyamory. Oh, and I should say that my my grandmother Calliope comes back into this poem. Thruple. About my daughter's polyamory, my mother says, "Don't they do that in Utah? Isn't it against the law?" Because we're old, we think it sounds like too much work. But if they're happy, who are we to say? I try not to share news that isn't mine. I've failed again. Mom, too, was in a throuple, she claims, when Yaya Calliope lived with us and woke her up from naps to share sex tips. Thank you.